Right. All right. Thank you all for coming. This is a session on judo kata. Over the next hour and a half, you're going to have the first set of judo kata. Judo kata is made up of 3 sets, so we're going to try to cover 1 set for each week. We have this week, plus not next week, but the following 2 weeks after, we're going to finish off the judo kata. My name is Gord Okamura, and I will be your presenter. Judo kata, in my opinion, is one of the hardest katas to do. And usually before we get started, I have a big warm-up so that people are limber, not only in their arms and shoulders, hamstrings, their back, the whole array of your whole body, because after you do judo kata in its entirety, you're probably going to be very sore. So it is one that it requires precision. It is done slowly. It is done with control, and it involves strength because you have to have strength to lift up your partner. But in judo kata, there is no throwing of your partner, so you also have to lay down, put your partner down on the ground or back on their feet. There is, again, the slowness, but there has to be what we say fluidity. The motions have to be continual. And that's where they talk about the grace and the beauty of judo kata. When we're doing it today, we're going to be very chunky because we're learning it at the pieces on the pieces. So each piece is going to have a little break after each one. So ultimately, though, you want to take all those pieces and make it flow. We often draw the analogy like a river flowing nonstop, or in some cases, as we move, the upper body is moving with posture and balance, and the bottom half is sort of doing the work, but the upper body looks nice and smooth, like the old bird on the water, that type of thing. We really need to differentiate though the attack and the defense. Judo is full attack and defense. You might not see the attack as much as in Goshin Jitsu or Kime, but you have to generate force, you have to generate avoidance of the attack, and then show the element of kazushi. So as you're doing this, you might not recognize it. We're going to take a look at one video, but it will involve all these aspects of attack, defense, kazushi, and how you move your body and how you get somebody off balance and what the reaction will be and so on. But the lifting part, because it's done so smoothly, again, you have to have the everything in the right place, you might say, to do the lifts. So as you see the various high performance teams in judo kata, you will see how graceful they are, but also how their body allows them to be flexible and to show control. So even as you're lifting somebody, if you've got shaky knees as you're lifting the person, that will show because everybody's watching you in slow motion. All right, so let's just take a look at judo kata first set video. What you should see is the beginning of Japan. This is Japan in 2021 at the Worlds. These 2 ladies did win the medal first place. And I'm going to just try to get started without losing that spot. So again, I'm hoping that everyone can see it. This is the introduction. This is the opening bow and then attack. This is the first technique that you're going to be working on. And it involves action, escape, react, stretching back. Again, you can see the motion is fluid and controlled. At the end, there's a submission, and then putting the person back. That's the first move. The second move involves starting to push. Okay, is trying to push Tori over.
You can see that in this kata performed by these 2 ladies is amazing.
Moves back. There's a hand strike coming to the face. And then there's the finish again.
And also the posture, the precision, the rhythm. Look at that.
Next move, we move to the front, face to face. Uke will control the wrists. Tori is going to draw Kazushi, step across into
Years of practice this kata all day.
a lift. We won't expect you to be able to lift that high tonight, but it does involve a lot of core body strength. This is the next technique where Tori is turning, shows Kazushi, turns in, and does a Seoi type of throw. Legs are straight by Tori, control, and same speed up is the same speed down. And this is the last one of the first set where the hand strike is going for the jaw. There's Kazushi, there's another attack. There's Tori taking control, getting Kazushi, and then doing the finish. And then they walk
So
back,
these
and that's the
rivals
end
for
of the
the
first set.
Japanese girls are the German ducks.
Couple of things that I want to look at before we start. And I want everybody here and everybody out there, if you want to practice this, it's sort of an action that my wife does in Tai Chi. And this involves how you show motion with your hands, keeping your feet stable, okay, and pushing ahead. So one hand is pulling back in the circle, the other one's pushing ahead, and you just show nice and smoothly, slowly, how you are generating force as you're pushing and as you're pulling. So it's just moving ahead, keeping weight on your elbows down and moving ahead, all the while focusing straight ahead. Okay. So as you do Juno Kata, think about the flow. There's another kata that involves the law of symbolism in terms of water flow. In those cases, again, you'll see them sort of show the high end of the wave, dropping down, low, and then moving ahead. And so even though, again, we want to see continual action for our learning purposes, we're going to chop it up. So it's okay to be choppy right now. Ultimately, you want to make everything smooth. One other thing I want you to just practice with me is to take your hand, doesn't matter which one, grab your own wrist. So you got your hand facing you and you got your own wrist grabbed. Now this one that's fingers up, you got to turn it sideways. So now it's a little harder to hold with this bottom hand. And then take that thumb, this one here, take the thumb and push it back behind the wrist of your bottom hand, and then flip it around so that you're now grasping the other hand. Okay? To do this, you need to have firmness in your grip and your hands. Right? The reason, as you could probably feel, is as you turn that hand, it becomes harder for your fingers to hang on to. So now it's a little looser. Now you can transition again with the thumb in the back and end up facing the other hand. Okay? So if you start off with your hand facing your face, then you should be able to twirl and change grip. Twirl and change grip. Each time you're using this V action, it's called Yahazu grip here, to show the control. Right? So this is going to be applied as you do the first technique. Simple thing. Okay? All right. Let's get started then on Tsuki Daeshi as your first action. And I'm going to ask for Tammy, I guess, to come up. We're going to dispense with the bowing part for now. So we're going to start each partner facing about 2 meters apart. So the first action is okay. And we have a hand sword. We call it tei, hand, and katana. Okay? There's different ways of having your hand sword. In other words, it could be attacking with your fingers ahead. And again, we don't want a droopy sword. We want tilted upwards, if anything, or straight here. And then we could also have our fingers pointing down sometimes to do another finger strike. Or we could also have other cases where the hand will be slashing from the edge. So in this case here, the first attack will be a hand fingers pointed forward. The target for uke is to hit what we call the uto, in between the eye area, in that area there. Okay. Sugiyashi, Sugiyashi and Suriyashi. Everybody understand that? Suriyashi is basically keeping your feet along the ground as you're moving, rather than step heel toe. And the Tsugiyashi is where we have, don't let your feet pass the other one. So you always have a trailing foot, always a trailing foot. Okay. Another thing that we often talk about are the railroad track for your shoulders and your feet, the railroad track width. Right? So when you're walking ahead in Nagina Kata, you're often moving down the railroad track width. In Juno Kata, for this very first technique, the tracks are a little bit narrower than the shoulder width. So as he advances, he's going to be slightly narrower as he tries to strike to the uto of Tori. All right. As he moves, his hand will start off from the side and elevate. So ultimately, by the time he reaches uke's uto, his hand has gone up. But this hand should be coming up smoothly. It's not a clock that goes click, click, click. It should be nice and smoothly moving up toward the uto. Okay? So let's just have this starting off as uke attacking toward Tori. And Tori is going to avoid that strike, but at the same time, Tori cannot anticipate. And we'll by that. So Jeff, you can just start to advance. Not to advance, yeah. So by the time he gets 3 there, she turns and avoids. She ties sabaki to avoid, and now she has control. Now the grip's on the control, and this is the only first time the right hand has thumb down. In other words, you're grabbing it this way, if you can see. The other hand is thumb up. So this is this way. So together on the very first one, you're going to be in thumb down, thumb up position, which is what Tori has right now. Control the wrist, and right behind. Okay. What I want to show is how the footwork works. What she's going to do, first of all, is stretch uke back. Yeah, too far apart. Okay, stretch apart. Now, Tori has to show, or uke has to show escape. So they're going to be doing a shifting of the feet as well as to escape. He has to start lowering this down as he turns and they flip around. So at the flip around position now, uke is controlled. Uke is doing the same action, stretch back. All right. Now Tori has to escape. So then she will do the rotation and ultimately end up back in basically the first position. To finish it, rather than keep rotating, she's going to block this hand against the side so there won't be any further rotation. She's going to be sliding this hand up to the shoulder, and then that hand will also come up so it's right by his ear. She steps back 1 and stretches the person upwards. All right, and then to release after you tap, then Tori will step back forward and you're end of the first technique. Okay, now what I want to also show you is the footwork. And if you don't mind, we'll use this tape as a reference point. I don't know if you can just angle it down. Yeah, good. All right, let's put Jeff here. Okay. If Jeff was the uke and he's being stretched here, okay, we're just going to focus on the footwork now. For him to start to escape and rotate, what he'll do is turn this heel outwards in that direction, okay? Meanwhile, Tori has to react to that, so it's not simultaneous, but it has to follow. So then Tori is going to point his toe outwards. Then together, they're going to bring their inside foot together and then swing around. So ultimately, you should be in the exact same position in terms of alignment of feet. Next time here, this person is going to escape, so they turn the heel together. He's going to go toe together. Toe. No. Swing your, point your toe there. Together. And then we'll spin. Okay. So it's, if you want to try, remember it's heel, toe, heel. If you're this person escaping, you're going to turn your heel out. You're going to start to turn your body sideways and step around.
So, okay, at the moment.
Now, if the Tory starts to escape, they will do the same thing, only as a reaction, the other person will go toe together and spin. Okay, so the goal is that you don't move anywhere. You're back in the same spots. If I'm on this tape here and I start to go heel together, spin, I'm on the same spot. I'm going to go toe together, spin. So yeah, as either party. So let's put the Tory and okay back together here. Okay, is facing this way. Tory is facing this way. Tory is done the stretch. So who has to stay first? Okay, this guy. Okay, so how's he going to do that? He's going to turn his right heel out, bring his feet together. Now, as he's doing that, Tory has to follow. So slow down. She's going to go. Let's go heel together. She's going to go toe. I'll point your toe out. That one. Together and spin. So they should end up. They should end up being lined up. Obviously, they moved. Somebody moved the wrong way because they're not on the tape any longer. Okay. So on this one here, I want everybody to come on board if you want, and let's do the footwork of this heel, toe, heel. Okay. Doesn't matter where you are, just more or less line up. Let's let everybody lining up facing this way, and one person behind the other person here. Okay, so everybody's got a partner facing the back. All right. Now the person that's being stretched, you're just trying to escape, so you're going to turn your heel outward, bring your feet together, and then swing around. The Tory is going to do the toe swing together and spin around. Okay. Now, Tory is now the one. This person's being stretched. So what's he going to do if you're being stretched? Go heel together, spin. Right? Okay, so you can see that the steps are shoulder width on your shoulder width, and basically the trick is to try and end up in alignment each time. Each time you should be in alignment. So if you swing body heel outwards together, step. Next time you're going to go toe out together and step. Okay, end up in the exact same spot that you started with, you did good. If you end up staggered, you didn't do good. Okay. Now, if you got the feet working properly, then you recognize how you roll your hands. Remember that exercise with the twisting of your hand and then take control of your partner's wrist? Same thing. You got to roll your hand and end up grabbing his hands. Yeah. Okay. The person escaping is always going to be pushing the heel out. Okay. All right. Now, I think we got that roughly right. The finish part of this. I want to talk about the finish part. All right. Tammy, you can do this on me, please. Okay. And I'm turning sideways so you can see what Tammy's doing to me. At the end, she had my arm trapped against the side. She had my wrist, and she's pulling me back. Okay? At this point, she's lifting up there. What we used to do in the old days was more a back kicker. She would sort of push and pull the hand backwards. Okay? So if she was doing that, back like that, that's what we used to do. But in reality, if she was to let go in this position, let go, let go, let go, okay, it might look like I'm off balance, like this. I might look like I'm off balance, but I can't be off balance because I'm still standing here. So my center of gravity is now over top of my heels simply because half of my body's sticking out and half of my body's leaning back. So center of gravity is still here. If you do the stretch way, come around back then. If she stretches me back, oh yeah. Now my center of gravity is way back here. And if she was, thank you, good catch. All right. So understand that the motion of stretching upwards, understand that the tori, or the uke in this case, is keeping his toes down. So even though you're rocking back, you're not like that. But if you got your body stiff or straight, then you know your center of gravity is moved way back here when you're doing that. And that's what you want to achieve. You want to achieve the kazushi at the finish. And that's why there's a submission, one tap only. And then uke has to step forward because uke is now, stretched back. So to take the pressure off, tori will step forward, and that's the end of that one. Okay, so there's a lot of working pieces. The other thing that at the very beginning, when uke was going for the strike here, okay, there was a tai sabaki to avoid, but then there's a little bit more kazushi, and that's why uke will take about 2 more little steps before stopping, and that's why she ends up in front, right, directly in front. So initially when you're attacking, you try to keep your body relatively square, attacking sideways. It's only when she misses, and you know that the target is here, so you might as well wait for your hand to go right in front of your face, right? Because then there's no anticipation. If you see tori sort of grabbing it and putting it, that's called anticipation. Wait until the very last moment before you do your tai sabaki, and then here. So you just do a little bit more kazushi in this direction, and that's why uke will take a couple more steps ahead, but then at the same time, that's when they'll start to turn and end up being sideways. Okay. Once you're sideways and you're in this position, then you do the stretch, and then now the escape and the defense, escape and defense, and then ultimately the finish. Okay, so that's Tsuki Dayashi. We'll take a couple of minutes to just practice that with your partner, and then we'll move on to the next one.
So for uke, you're going to feel that, slide the feet together, and then hit. In your tori, your foot is going toe together, and then big back.
All right, we're going to move on to the next technique. This is called kata oshi. Kata is a shoulder, of course, and oshi is a push. We're going to take it from the finishing of the last position. The last position was where we had tori stretch the person upwards, and the submission was one hand tap. Right, okay, stepping forward. All right. At this point here, tori is just going to do a quarter turn by pulling her right foot back so that she's now facing the side. Facing the side. Uke is going to step around, so he has to take a couple steps so that his right foot now is in line with Uke's left foot, in that area here. Have to be close enough that you're going to be able to push with your right hand. So again, thinking about the Tai Chi movements and stuff, you have to show that there's force being pushed against that in a nice gradual speed. Okay? Now, tori is not going to fight that, so tori is going to use that. All right, so let's have a push here. Tori is going to bend forward, and the hand will slide off. Uke is now pulling back, and then uke is attacking and being submitted or submit. In this case here, because his hands are both tied up, his submission is to step back with his left foot. Just step back, small step. That's all you need. And that would be the end of that one. Okay? Now, as you know, in judo, we talk about this is a forms of gentleness, but judo is also allowing, what's the word, giving. Right? In other words, the old analogy is that if you have a force, let's say of 5 units, and you're fighting a person that has only 2 units of force, okay, if both try to push against each other, the one that wins is the 5 force, right? This much force against a smaller force is going to win. However, in judo, we don't push against each other. We take advantage of the power that's coming toward us. So in this case here, what we want to have is Tori to not try to resist, but to take advantage of that power that's coming ahead. So in the old analogies, the 2 units, rather than try to push against the stronger force, all they do is to hook it or use it and pull. So now this person has 7 units of strength because they're taking advantage of the power that's being given to coming against them. Okay, so it's more a matter of how we show that we're using our bodies efficiently. That Tori is not, initially there's a little bit of resistance, but oh yeah, you can't fight it that way. So that's why Tori will bend forward, and then his hand now loses that strength because it's nothing there to really push against. So at this case here, this is why after the hand is pushed and Tori is basically disappeared by dropping down, Uke is going to now change the direction of the power and start to pull, to try and not pull the person down. Okay, so there's a hand that's going forward initially by Uke against the shoulder, but then once Tori bends forward, then that hand is now used to pull the shoulder back. But again, in this case, Tori goes with the flow. The pressure is being pulled back, so what does Tori do? Not only bends forward, but then starts to move back in that backward direction. When you're moving back, and this is where you need to have good stretched out hamstrings, is that you want to have your legs straightened out. One of the things that you'll see in the next 2 techniques from now is how you can have your legs straightened out with your hip back, with your upper body forward, and your center of gravity still over top of your base of support. And so when Tori, after on this one, bends forward, Tori has to move backwards. But Tori has to move back, pushing the hips backwards. Otherwise, as you know, if you were to try to lift somebody with a lot of weight over your head, and your legs are straight here, and your body is center of gravity is way out here, then you're going to fall forward. So this is the way how you adjust your body to shift your center of gravity back so that you still can maintain that balance. Okay, so as you're moving back on this one, think about trying to stretch out your legs and then shifting your hip back as you move back. You start off slowly when you start to move back and then faster. So it starts off maybe with a little shuffle, then a little faster. At that point, Uke is already now turning and is going to do another Pei Katana strike to the Uto. So as Uke will be turning here, they're going to step forward to Tori's Uto here. Okay? Step forward is the intent to strike there. One of the things you got to check is your feet in that direction. If your foot is already turning because you anticipate the next move, which is to be turned, then you didn't do the Pei Katana correctly. So make sure that there's force coming up there. And then I'm okay here, she's a Tori. We're going to push through here. I'm going to pull back. I got my hand loaded up here. I have wrist action so we could see each other's eyes. I'm going to strike before that eyes, and she's now going to twist one more time. And in this case, stretch back upwards. In this case here, she's holding the finger base of your hand, not the thumb in the palm. Okay, the finger base. So that's somewhere at the base of your fingers as well as the top of your palm there. Okay, so it's a bit of a cranking of the fingers, more or less, at the top. You're cranking it upwards this way. Okay, so on this one here, you have to grab the base because what happened to that Oke's palm? The palm was actually pushed on top of Tori's shoulder. So right here, if I'm pushing it with my palm here, then there's no way she can get her thumb in my palm, right? But the only thing that's there, because my fingers are straight, is the base of my fingers. And that's why you grab the base of your fingers on this one. Okay? So as you're pushing with the inside of your hand, and she grabs the base of the fingers and gives it a crank. Gives it a crank, makes it uncomfortable. Open up, see the eyes, and then attack. Strong Te-Katana there. Okay? So a lot of pieces on this one. Just take it slow, but think about some of the things that we want you to demonstrate. Not fighting it, but moving and moving and moving and getting ultimately to the final control phase. Okay, let's start off with all the tories facing that wall over there. Okay, and okay, you're behind, so your right foot is lined up with Tori's left foot. Okay, now okay from behind, your right hand is going to be pushing against Tori's right shoulder, at the shoulder blade area, and pushing with a firm hand. Okay, Tori's going to relax, bend forward. Now Tori's going to take that same right hand and hook the top of the shoulders and start to pull him backwards, pull Tori backwards. Tori then has to shuffle back. Now, as Tori shuffles back, he's grabbed your fingers. Okay, you're going to turn on your right heel and prepare your left hand Te-Katana. And as Tori backs up, step into that so that you're striking toward the uto of Tori. All right. Tori is then going to catch that Te-Katana and end up with a double wrist or finger bend. So your thumb, you're going to end up sort of like in this position here. This one here.
Okay. Thumb on the fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The base of it. And then this is the other edge. So,
yeah.
Okay.
How far should they be bending?
Pretty well 90. 90. Okay, turn, get your Te-Katana, step into it. Yeah, catch it. Nick. Turn. And this time, stretch them up with the fingers. So, okay, it's actually stretched up in that Kazushi position. Okay. Okay, it has to be feeling that tipping back. That's keeping the toes on the ground. Yes, good, good. That's it. Demonstration of Kazushi. Yes, thank you. A little bit closer there. Yeah, a little bit closer. No, your feet regular width now. Yeah. Okay. So Uki's gonna push, Tori's gonna bend. Tori's gonna start to shuffle and grab the fingers. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Now I turn your heel. Yes, and then get your Te-Katana ready. All right, and he's gonna catch it. He's gonna turn you, and then he's gonna stretch you back up. Yes, that way. And then now to release, because you should be further back right now. Yeah, to release, you would have to step forward to take the pressure off, and then land down. Yeah, so you just have to work out the distance now. Yeah. Turn on your heel, Amina, and then just step ahead. Turn on your heel and just step ahead. No, don't stop there. All right. So now this is the end of the first one because she's let, okay, relax. Okay, puts his hands down. Now Tori will come to the front of okay. For this technique is called ryotodori, and you might have heard that in the other katas. It's a two-hand seizure, rote, two-hand, and dori being the hold. So in this case, Uke is going to grasp Tori's hand to lock it down. Now, after that, Tori is going to be stepping back slightly and pulling the hands ahead slightly, or back in this case, so that Uke is now tilted forward. There's a little bit of kazushi in the forward direction here. And from that small rotation, now it has to break this grip. So these should be firm grips. Okay, we don't hold with a, yeah, how's it? This is actually a grip here. Okay, so now Tori has to demonstrate how she breaks that grip. So she brings her arm across, so that's breaking that grip in the direction they can't hold. And at that point, she'll keep continuing taking that hand across and reaching around above the elbow with her right hand. Above the elbow.
Oh,
Okay. So
I'm
this,
getting mixed up here.
so we're going to just
So
turn.
slow.
We're just going to turn it around so people could see where this hand is going. So again, two-hand seizure, a little kazushi, cross. Get the hand going across. Yeah. Once she's broken that grip, then she could step across and grasp this hand up on the elbow area rather than down here. So it's that way. This hand here, because of the changing of the grip, is still going to be in a yahazu position. In other words, the finger and the thumbs are pointing upwards. It's not coming over top. It's uppercutting this way. Okay. So she has a yahazu grip here. She's going to go over top here, and she's going to turn so that her back is toward Uke. And Uke, you notice, keeps square on the body, doesn't turn his body. And at this point here, Uke is also, if you won't see it, but he puts his hand on the back of Uke's back, and then Tori does the lift forward. Okay, the tap is, the submission is one tap by that hand that you can't see right now, but there's a tap, and then you slowly let the person down. Okay, so we're just going to flip it around one more time. And this time I want you also to see the flow and the speed in which Tori is going to be doing the lift and the control. Okay, so okay, now you might not have seen it from that side now, but her hand was down in this region here. It has to be up in the elbow area here. Uke's feet, when you're up in the up position, the feet should be together, not apart. Core, so as you're being lifted, okay, you get this hand on the back. I don't know if you saw that, but the left hand was on Tori's back. That lets you also prop yourself up so that as the lift happens, you're not bent over as the lift happened and then spring your body straight. You should try to maintain straight core body strength as the lift starts so that it's a nice straight plank up and then a nice straight plank down. Only when your feet are just about to touch the ground, you get to split them. Otherwise, while you're up in the air, feet, everything should be together. So again, seizure, low kazushi, yahazu break here, hand on the back, up, tap, slowly back down, and then that's the end. So parts of this is that, for example, you can't start to bend too soon if your partner is still upright. So like any other technique, try to get the contact there. The other thing you'll find is that the steps are not that big. In other words, when you're locked here, it's just a small step back, as well as your hands, just a small step back. We're not trying to yank our hands back that make our go forward a whole bunch. It's just a little bit of subtle kazushi as you step back. Then you're showing that this hand is breaking. So remember in Goshin Jutsu where somebody's holding your hand, you break it down that fault line of the grip, and then they can't hold it. So it shouldn't be that okay is anticipating the break by letting go. If I'm holding her hand, she should show that she's forcing that hand to be broken. And if that's the case, then this hand will move. If I'm holding her hand here and she's going to break it, let's go in that direction. There. I was holding hard, but you also notice my hand moved because I was trying to hold on. What you shouldn't see is this. I meant this person let go for no reason. Okay, so you have to demonstrate how she's breaking it. It's back to the Goshin Jitsu type of thing where you have to break it down that seam line. Now it's broken. Now that hand will continue on over top and end up getting the lift happening. Okay, so just work out the mechanics, distance-wise, stepping-wise. Again, small step, step across, step around. These are not humongous steps. Although some of you have very long legs that might be a little bigger than mine, but not whole big. Okay, so let's try this one out. Ryotedori. Okay, Igor, upside down Yahazu. Fingers up on your left hand. On your left hand. Yeah, so when you come out of that, you're going to end up holding this way. Right? So because he's holding you.
Yes.
Okay, remember how we do the Yahazu? So that's why it comes out this way. You still have to lift it up like the regular Kazushi hand, yeah, but you want to lift it with the Yahazu. Yeah. But Jason, your feet, in this case, you get to have them shoulder width. So if you're narrow, that it becomes a little more wobblier, right? Yeah. So, or you're a little taller. He is. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So you need it to be a little bit lower given his height.
Do I squat or do I keep my legs straight?
No. You can come in squat, but as you do the lift, you end up being straight. Yeah. Okay. So all you're doing is grabbing and locking down. That's all. Now, what he's going to do is just a little step back with the Kazushi. So a little bit hands back. So just roll your wrist back. Yeah. Step back with your left foot. Okay, and just a little Kazushi. No, don't go too fast. Slow. Remember the water and all. So just back, pull you out, and break and bring it right across. Keep continuing across, and end up grabbing a grip here. Okay, and then the lift. And again, you can see you might want to check your balance in your feet. Yeah. Okay. Let's just move forward. So again, we have an okay and a tori. Okay was just let down after doing that last lift, the Ryotedori lift. The next one is called Kata Mawashi. So kata in this case means shoulder, and mawashi is like a washing machine. it rotates, right? So he's going to go from behind and use both of his hands to firmly push the shoulder around. Okay. As that happens, Tori is going to start to rotate around and take control of the inside of Tori's right arm and do a little bit of a Kazushi step here, stepping back a bit. Yeah. And then turning in one more time with a cross step and a rotation step into a Seoinage. In this case here, the Seoinage is on the top of the shoulder and not in the bicep. The control is actually holding the inside of Oke's arm, but also you notice how Oke supplements that by cupping Tori's elbow. So you become more of a one unit. This elbow here rarely will come forward because that tightens up this whole area here. If you keep it out, then it's a lot looser. So this is loose. Just get used to bringing that elbow forward. Right? On this one here, when you stepped in, and I know there's different heights, when you step in, you have to step in at the height that you want to be after you finish doing the rotation. This is not one where you get to step in, and drop, and then do the lift. So aim to come at the height that you need to be to do the lift. Okay. So one more time. So we have a rotation firmly with the palms of your hand, a little bit of kazushi, stepping around and lifting. Feet together, okay? Thank you. And back down. Okay. This one in particular, especially when you watch all the high teams, this is where it's evident that uke is pushing the hips backwards because the legs end up being very straight and the control is still there. So you want to be able to make sure you push your hip back so that when you're doing the lift, this is straight, but everything is straight. So you got straight uke that's planked. You got the back straight here, tori, and the legs are also straight going this way. So it sort of looks like that when you do the lift. Okay. Again, firmness with the hands. We just don't use our fingertips on these ones. When you're pushing that shoulder, use the palm of your hand. Push here. So like Tai Chi almost. Yeah. Push it there, rotate the person around. Again, tori, as soon as you feel that rotation happening, then you get to start to step, right? So you're going to be stepping around. 1, 2, 3, Zushi, 4, 5, then the lift. Okay? So again, small steps on the rotation and controlled lift, same speed up, same speed down. Right? This one you can have a lot of fun with because this is the one that you often see very high ukes. The foot way up there. Right? Because then if you have a flexible tori that can bend forward, as well as one that can plank, it gets very high. And people say, wow, look at that. Yeah. Again, take your time on this one. One other thing that I should have mentioned before is in judo kata, we don't grab any jidogis. None of the moves require you to grab any sleeve or lapel. It is all controlled by pressure. Hand grip here. So judo kata is one that you actually don't need a jidogi on. You can pick your partner on the street or whatever and just go ahead because there's no judo requirement, a jidogi requirement, and there's no tatami requirement. There's no throwing on the mat. Okay, so that's why it's a very unique kata in that sense. All right, so this one is called Kata Mawashi, Kata Mawashi. All right, let's try that for a few minutes.
Back, comes in, comes down in, grab legs here. In.
If you look, it's all that.
Yeah, cup. Pick.
All right.
Right? Help each other out there. Okay, now this one here, like, remember the nugget? A little bit higher here. Yeah, and then there. Yeah, that's it. Oh, good. Now again, I would suggest you have it a little bit wider than this. Yeah. Shoulder width is general rule of thumb, right? So then you got better balance here. Yeah. So firm on the hand rotation. What you want to end up with is a little bit straighter
Legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means shift your hip back.
Okay, more. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Jeff.
Yeah,
Solid hand, palm. Yeah. Kazushi. Turn, hip. Okay. Now bend. Push your hips back, straight on the knees. Even more. Yeah. That's it. Okay. And again, your elbow could have been pointed ahead. Yeah. Still have some energy here. So we're here. We're pushing more with the palms of our hand, right? And not just this type of thing where you're just leaving your fingerprints behind. Right? So just more palm rotation. Let the kazushi happen there. Now she has to come in at the right height. So then as she does the lift, 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 then tap, and then slowly, 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 slowly down. Right? So if you lock everything up, especially with the elbow in and your elbow contact here, then you're really one solid unit. And then it's just up to Tori to control the lift up and lift down. And often what you end up doing is Tori takes it up to a certain point and stops, and then you'll see, okay, just do a little bit more with his body to elevate it even a little bit higher. Okay? We're doing the straight plank way. In other words, okay, as straight as a board. You're going to see some videos where Japan is doing what I call the banana, where their back is arched. Get that arch effect. Okay? That came in after a while. It's been around now for a while, but initially when it first happened, everybody was wondering, what is that?
See more about competition.
Straight. Yeah, the plank at the Kodokan said they do that because it is naturally able to extend that way. But at the same time, with years and years, Japan won the gold at the Worlds, and it was straight. So banana, and then everybody was talking about the banana. So I would suggest you just keep it straight. If you don't have what we call the sweet spot, if you didn't sink yourself down far enough as a Tori, then it is harder to get a height, because then now Tori has to basically drop his head down to his toes to get that same angle. So you can play around with how low Tori has to sink. But again, as I mentioned, it's not one where you turn in and sink and then do the lift. You have to sort of be able to turn in at the height that you need to be and then lift. And the lift is actually sort of up and forward as well. But for now, just try to get the lift, And you figure out your stability, right? Shoulder width probably is the best. And again, if you work with your partners and do the hooking up nice and tight, it's a lot easier. If it's loose, then you can see the Tori struggling to keep balance, and that's not a good thing. Leaves us one more to do this set. It's called Ago Oshi. Any guesses of what Ago means? You might have seen it in some other katas. Chin, jaw, chin area, jaw, yeah. And Oshi again is the push. So we're going to be seeing a push to the jaw. So again, we're going to see a Te Katana. And as I mentioned, there's different ways of doing Te Katana. In this case, the target is to push the jaw. Okay, it's not just to touch the jaw. You're not just doing that. You're trying to drive the jaw over. And then that means, what does Tori do? Does Tori fight it? No, Tori avoids it and takes that energy and moves it in the direction that's to her advantage. Okay, so at the end of this one here, Tori will take 2 steps forward and turn back, or turn to the side of me. All right, similar to the first one, there's going to be a tsugiyashi, elevation of the hand, the Te Katana arm, up to the point where as he takes his third, 1, 2, by that time he should be just about to hit the jaw, and you're going to see Tori avoid by pulling the jaw back and also turning the head. Okay, so avoid that Te Katana. But remember, where's the target? It's around your jaw area, right? So in this case, you're going to see Tori take a grip of the palm of the hand with that Yahazu grip again. So last time when we did this one, you couldn't get the palm. If you want, yeah. Switch around, that's fine. Okay, so what you're going to see is after the end of the last one, 2 steps and rotate. You're going to see the right hand Te Katana going for the jaw. You're going to see the avoidance, and this time the thumb, her thumb is in the palm of the hand because you had a full access to the palm. All right. At this point, there's also a kazushi. So as she's turned, she did a little bit pull, forcing to lean ahead. Then she's going to turn and face, and then Uke is going to do another Teikatana with the other hand up toward the Uto. Okay, so let's rewind it again. 2 steps in turn. Okay, advancing with Teikatana. Catch it. Now there's a little step there, yes. Now she has to take a big step forward here and then pivot. Tori doesn't move yet. Uke doesn't move until the pivot starts to see the eyes, and then he'll attack with her left hand Teikatana up. And now she has both thumbs in the palm and elevates the hand to get the kazushi back. Okay? But that's not the finish of this technique. Once he's got the leaning because of the kazushi, then she'll bring the hands down toward the ear or the back of the shoulder, and that's the final kime, or the finishing point of it. Again, to submit, Uke will take a small step back, and then Tori will release by stepping forward and letting the arms come down. Okay. One more time. Okay. Completion, left, right, pivot. Right foot, catch, pivot, big step forward, get the eyes, attack, and then finish it there. Okay, so a couple of things on this one again. Tammy? Yeah. Okay, 2 steps in turn. 1, 2, here. Advancing. 1, 2, 3. There's a kazushi there. Okay. At this point, nothing's happening because she has to now step forward with her right foot there and turn. Once I see her turn, I can see her eyes. I'm going to step right ahead with this foot. Remember, left hand, left foot. I'm attacking there. So make sure that this is one unit coming together. And again, she's twisting it, so I'm going to end up being twisted back up and then down. Okay? So that the hand up is just to get a little bit of leaning back kazushi. The finishing is in this position here. And remember how I said the arch, the back arch isn't so unstable? In this case, she would have taken a bigger step. And so I'm really in trouble if she's really arching you back. Okay, so the finish on this one is a back arch. It's not up in the air because we were up in the air, but then we finished it by bringing it down into that position. And that's the uncomfortable position that makes you submit. All right, so let's try that one out. And it's called Ago and Oshi. So jaw thrust here. All right, you're going to avoid and you're going to just do a little tug this way. Okay, so that's where you get the thumb in the palm. Okay? And we're going to just step ahead and get to this position. Sees me, I'm going to take it and twirl them around here, get the kazushi lean, and then I'm just going to pull it back toward his ears and then tilt them back. So we work out the distance. Often what Tori doesn't do is step ahead enough. I should have mentioned that when you step forward from here, you step here, all right, side to side, and then to finish it, actually, you step to your right with one step with your right foot. Okay, you're going to be stepping ahead, pivoting. So you just ducked underneath your arm, and he's going to strike here, and then you just adjust one more time. In the side position, just make sure you avoid and turn. So you're turning your body and your foot. Full kazushi, then step forward, step side by side, catch the next one, and then to finish it, you take a little step with your right foot to the side. Okay, that direction, Tori on this direction. What you're going to do is your normal bow from the edge. Okay, so regular bow there, one bow together, and one standing up. Now, 2 steps to get to the tape, which you don't have, but that's 1 meter ahead of you. So take 2 steps to get to the tape. At the tape, you will turn to shomen and do 1 bow, then turn again and face each other and bow to each other. After you done your bow to each other, you're going to take one step ahead of the tape. So you're going to end up taking one step ahead from here, just moving ahead. Now you're going to end up shoulder width apart. Okay, so everybody take one step ahead. Your shoulder width apart. Now take 2 steps to end up 1 meter ahead. 1, 2. Roughly, you should be around 2 meters from the center. 1 there, 1 meter there, 1 meter there. Okay, at this point here, this is where now okay starts off. So okay, you're going to start off with the Kata. That's okay. Yeah. All right, this is where we're starting off the first technique. So okay, together, you're just going to start to move ahead. 1, 2, and there. Thumb down. Thumb down. Thumb down. The other way. Turn your right hand around. Yeah. Okay. A little bit. Your bodies are in alignment. Okay. Who's going to escape? Okay, he's going to escape. How's he going to do that? He's going to start to twist his body by sliding his right heel outwards, bring your feet together, and pivot. Tori's going to turn the right toe outwards, feet together, and spin. So now you're facing the other direction. Now Tori has to escape. So what's he going to do? He's going to turn his right together and spin. And meanwhile, Tori's going to go, or Uke's going to go toe out. Left hand, yeah, left, and the other one goes up towards his ear. And you step back. You also slide your left hand, Tori, onto the top of the shoulder and step back as you stretch the wrist up in the air. Okay, does not shift, be leaning back, and then tap, and then Tori steps forward to take, okay, hands down. Tori, take a right step back, in other words, pivot and face the back wall. Okay, you're going to step behind Tori. So face, take just 2 steps so your toe, right foot is in line with the left foot, okay, or Tori. Now you're going to do the shoulder push. Kata Oshi, push the shoulder forward, okay, or Tori, bend forward, catch the fingers, start to shuffle back. Tori, or okay, hand thrust, turn, hand thrust, catch it, Tori, and stretch them back, stretch them back. Yeah, submit by a foot back, okay, let them back up. Now, Tori, you're going to walk to the front, in front of, okay. Walk in front of, okay. Yes, yes, yes. Next one's rotidori. So, okay, you're going to grasp the wrists, and kazushi back with your step. Step across, break the grip. Get your hand on top of the elbow, Tori, and do the lift up again. Let them down. Okay. After that, we're going to do the kata mawashi. So hands up, Tori. Okay, and turn the shoulder. Make Tori step around. Tori's going to grasp the inside. Cup the elbows. No, we're going to do ippon seoi. Ippon seoi. Yeah. And up and then down. And then take 2 steps forward and turn, Tori. 2 steps forward and turn. Last one, ago oshi. Again, advancing. Take katana. Okay. Step 1, 2, kazushi, turn, pivot, another strike, left hand thrust, and hands up first, and then down to the ears. Submit by stepping back, put your hands down, and just walk back toward the middle tape. And that's the end of the first set.